So I told you at the beginning, it's all about the markets, but then also about the European side, right? And a first question to you, who knows about EIC Accelerator, European Innovation? Oh, well, okay. There's a few of you, but a few don't yet. So that's why we have the next speaker. Angelo Nuzzo will be coming up. He's the national contact point for this EIC. So this at the Austrian Research Promotion Agency, FFG. And he will be explaining what this EIC Accelerator and Fund is doing to help high-tech startups and SMEs to really get funding and then scale up internationally. So Angelo, I think you're ready. Please join me, give him a big applause.
Here we are. Good morning, everybody. My name is Angelo Nuzzo, as you can see. Quietly, it sounds Italian. I am Italian since 10 years here in Vienna. As already said, I'm here kind of Mr. EIC for you. Half of you already heard about it. Some of you are even already met. So it's not really, don't take it as a keynote speaker. It's more like setting the scenes and get everybody on board on the same page for the panel, which is after us. And this will be the real moment to go deep in any topic. That said, so this is working, perfect. What are we talking about? Here, this session is going to be the panel afterwards about public and private investment in startup in deep tech. And this is how I depict, from my experience in FFG, most of the Austrian companies have this journey in the landscape or jungle, if someone says, of funding opportunity in Austria and in Europe. So typically, as we heard also before, someone has a great idea, someone has a great technology, and wants to make a business out of it, right? Where do Austrians typically go first? In Austria, they go to the national agency. AWS, you already heard about it, FFG, we have a national program. Typically, this is the initial part, where a founder collects the first money to start, basically, right? So we have several programs in an FFG national funding, which goes up to 3 million, more or less. And then you have really a lot of regional agency, AWS, any kind of support to just get you started. Then, hopefully, you start working on your technology, and anytime in your business life, you want to grow. And when you want to grow, typically you come to us to see what's there from the European Union for this step to scale up. And this is where we come in place, and EIC is one of the many European opportunities for you to orientate in the so-called Horizon Europe framework program. And more or less, I say 90–95% of deep tech in Austria go this journey, right? It's also a matter of ticket size. Of course, national funds are a bit less, European funds are typically more. On the other side, national funds are easy to get in terms of statistics, and they are more difficult to get. But this is a kind of first, let's say, navigation map, depending when you are. Few words on our FFG portfolio. So typically FFG funds project. So while AWS funds the business aspect of your company, we fund projects. So we give you money to cover the cost for projects. There is a lot of program in FFG. I wanted to highlight you for who doesn't know the name, maybe you can pick them, which is specific for startup phase. So as I said, typically you start your business with national funding, and these are the key names you can think about or go and check them. The key message here, so as I said, we give typically up to 3 million to start your project, and the funding rate is different. Typically FFG is industrial oriented, so company who get funded for research, and you get a mixed model. 50 to 100% of your cost can be covered depending on your program. And we use a combination of standard checks and grants, so money you don't give back, typical public money, and also loans mechanisms, something that you get a very specific and good condition to get a loan from FFG with a plan of repayment after years. Okay? What is the point about the public funding scene? So the public funding scene, just to deep dive you in the first jump here. So coming from funding and not from investment, everybody talks about TRLs, technology readiness level. So this is the scale that's also European level is used to see where you are in your product development. And FFG, AWS, any other EU project typically cover from your basic idea TRL1, I want to go to the moon, to your prototype, okay? Sometimes a bit more, TRL7, some demo. What is the trick here? That is, by law, it's forbidden in Europe that public money support commercial activities. This would be a bias on the market. That's why any instrument you can find in this jungle will bring you from the idea maximum to your prototype. And this is the moment when the Commission, 4 years ago, came with the idea, what's next? You name it, you are even more expert than me, valley of death, gap financing, you can call it as you want. The problem is that the red part is the risky part. So the science has been funded, the money to do science is there, you get it done. At a certain point, you have a prototype, and the big step, also money, how do I bring this to be a product I can sell? This is where the whole idea of the EIC came to in place, the EIC Accelerator. It was conceived as be the instrument to fill this gap, okay? With two components. I will not go too much in detail here, feel free to ask me afterwards. The point is that the Commission can give a grant, standard funding, to complete the development, so for prototype to product, and then how do the Commission came with the problem that by law they cannot finance TRL9? They cannot finance the commercialization. Well, they start acting as an investor. So they found a mechanism to invest in company in equity instead of giving the classical grant money, okay? What is then the accelerator? So the accelerator in a nutshell is this funding program, so who has a grant component and investment component. An investment component is a venture capitalist equity-like system, okay? It's an equity investment. Very important, we talk here about this post-it, so everything which is breakthrough in the technology, which can disrupt the market and can scale up. If something is so-called incremental innovation, good, you do something better, doesn't matter how much better, million times better, is not here. There are other instruments. If you do something completely new and different, that's what the Commission wants to support here. And how did they implement this? With the so-called EIC fund. So this is the vehicle, there's a new fund, an investment fund, that the Commission create ad hoc for this program. Some numbers, 10 billion was the overall funding program for 7 years, so from 2021 to 2027, and the venture fund has been started with the 3.5 billion. Now, let's say, this was all the background, what it should be. If you want to see different, I will to give you some who is whom here. You have heard about EIC, AIB, AIF, EIX, whatever. Who are these guys? I hope after this one you get a better picture. So, the Commission decided we want to invest some money in deep tech investment. And in any country, there are the deep tech SMEs who want to get this money. Of course, there's nothing like a completely free money. The flow is not direct. They cannot just go to the Commission and take money. How does it work? Well, first of all, there is a policy level. So if anyone of you wants to see how politically or policy is this working, the decision is made by the Commission with the member states. Every member state has someone talking with the Commission about the idea, what should it be, how should you give this money. And they produce the so-called work program. This is the playbook, how you get this money. Good. This is the mind, the brain, and who is the arm doing this? That is the ASMEA, which is the agency from the Commission, who implements the program. And on a national level, it's people like me, national contact points. We are responsible to get information from political and agency and support the company for this program, okay? Which means the company first comes to us. What is AIC? What can I do? Is this for me? How is it working? We get information from the other actors and say, yeah, if you want, you can apply. You write a proposal, you submit to the Commission. Well, the Commission is, in this case, the agency. So the agency is responsible to make the evaluation. Typical funding system, there is a text, they go through. At the very end, they say, OK, you are eligible or not. Doesn't mean yet you get the money. So you are eligible means you are the top project in Europe we would like to finance. Well, then it depends. What did you ask? Most likely you ask a grant, as we said. So for the grant part, the eligible project deal with the agency directly. Traditional 20 years of grant management, they are the expert. This is normal EU project. For the investment part, which is new, we said, well, they establish a fund. And the typical interface to the fund is the EIB. The EIB established a new unit. We have also the EIB expert here later for details. And they act as an investment advisor. More practically said, the EIB makes the due diligence to check the investment part, while the grant is checked by the Commission. If then at the end the EIC fund is happy, well, finally the company gets the grant from the SMEA and the money from the fund. Not to be confused, the money is Commission money. Okay? The investment is from the Commission, it's not from any other guys. This is just to put some order in the name you might have heard. I will not go too much this one. Maybe I think you give the slide to participants. We have the panel afterwards. This is the fund and how it's been constituted by the Commission. So there is an alternative investment fund manager, so which is this IFM, Alter Domus, is a private fund, who was contracted by the Commission to manage all this part, because this is out of the skill and competence of the Commission, right? And as I say, they involve the AIB as investment advisor, they have the ORM fund, they have other counseling, auditor, etc. My point is, in all these mechanisms, the Commission will never invest alone, will never give the total money the company needs. There's always going to be a co-investment between the Commission and the so-called qualified lead investor. What is here important, I think, is that the Commission wants to go pari passu, so it wants really to align to the actual investor who will come. Translated, the Commission wants to be a catalyzer for the company to get an investor. So the company has to find an investor by themselves anyway. The Commission is here to help, not to substitute the investment. I know I'm out of time, I see from the clock, but I will be very, very fast because I don't want to bother you with philosophy. Let's get also some numbers, right? So this is the statistic until March, the last cutoff deadline before the last one, which we don't have the data yet. So we're talking about almost 3 billion euros given by this instrument all over Europe. By interest, France, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Israel are the top in the sense of how money they got from this instrument. Austria is doing very well, considering the size. We are there. And we are talking about, until now, more than 500 projects funded in 3 years. So this gives you the size of these tickets. And the other thing is also who is very active here. So the most effective, we can say, is Netherlands, Belgium, France, Iceland. So they get the most funded out of what they submit. There are countries like Israel, Italy, Germany, Spain. They submit a lot to this system, but there is not enough money. So in proportion, they get less funded for what they send. But this is just for a food of thought. For interest, these are the Austrian champions, or next unicorn, as the Commission likes to call them. There are 13 companies funded in Austria in the 3 years until now. We bring almost 70 million only from this instrument here. And you can see also, I wanted just to show you what is funded here. So everything, quantum, medical, biotech, IT, and energy. I will conclude now with the last number on the fund, because we are talking to investors here. So this is what has been happening until now. We talk about the equity only. So the 500 company, it's included the company which also get only the grant. About the investment only, there have been 344 companies, and this is the number for you. So on average, the EIC is owning 10% of the share of the company with this instrument. And healthcare, ICT, and biotechs are the top most funded companies. Conclusion slide. What is it all about for the investor? Well, how do you participate in this system? First of all, we do this event, we communicate, we look for investors who like to co-invest. All the companies who are winning, they have to find an investor. So first things, look into the EIC winners, beneficiaries, this is public, available, and look as an investor if there's anything where you would like to co-invest with the Commission. If there is something like this, you can co-invest. And the really take-home message is the Commission is taking the risk of the final step, this value of debt, with their Commission money. And this is the whole logic. So the Commission say, we take care that they make the next step, so such that it's less risky for an investor to come. Or if you want that the technology is mature enough for an investor to come. The last point, also fresh news from 2 weeks ago, the Commission published a list of trusted investors. So you can become part of this network where the Commission says investor associations which are part of this network are trusted. So are they really the ones who already have experience the Commission wants to invest with. And it's a kind of, let's say, elite or best possible network of investors in Europe. Again, I just give you inputs here. I didn't want to make a long story. I was already long. This is my contact. If anybody wants also to reach me, we have an FFG stand here in the event. And 00, I'm on time. Thank you.
Perfect.